Good day, everyone. This is Pilot Niels, and welcome to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at latest LOTRO and hear LOTRO players. And this week we have with us Krister
Hello.
and Cinders.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Are you ready to hear the news for this week?
I am ready.
Well,
Yes.
there isn't
Which really
much.
means I'm caffeinated.
Yeah, this is a relatively slow news week because everybody was all busy doing stuff relating to the transfers. So there were no game updates, so you won't be hearing any release notes this week. So I've heard a rumor there might be a small update next week, but who knows? That could be adjusted or something like that. So who knows what's going to be happening yet on that matter. So let's then look at the latest on the transfers. First off, if you remember last week, we had this huge backlog. Well, they decided to let that all get processed and all that stuff. So over the week, they finally got through all the backlog. So they're up to time on there. They also, after that, were able to do some updates. And it looks like that the transfer rate is a lot faster now, that they're able to get things transferred over in a timely manner, meaning we're talking minutes or seconds instead of days.
That's awesome.
Now, I've not tried to transfer anyone over the last few days, so I don't know whether or not that, exactly where it is on that matter. But it seems like that transfers are happening at a reasonable pace now. Now, I should note that transfers are currently open and that you're able to transfer from a 32-bit server to either Peregrine or Marinated. Now, you notice that I did not include Galandream or Orcrist on this list. Currently, there are no transfers to Orcrist and Galandream because apparently, even though in my circles, everybody's been wanting to head over onto Peregrine, the people that I know, that the more popular servers have an Orcrist and Marinated. So therefore, currently, they're not allowing any transfers onto there. And in fact, things are so crowded over at Orcrist because they managed to get most of Evernight's population plus several from other servers on this, that they have opened up transfers from Orcrist to Marinated for anyone who wishes to go into that direction. So I have a feeling that the opening of back and forth transfers that they're thinking of, they may be twiddling those particular plans as they go along with this, so that it's unlikely that if the population stays as high as it is on Orcrist, that they are going to allow any more any transfers going into that direction, because Orcrist seems to be already the most populated server in LOTRO right now. On Friday, they took down the server so that they could add more resources to it. So maybe things are running better now. I have not run on Orcrist for the last couple of weeks, so I do not know how things are going there. But I guess I could try that at some point. I guess if I see a queue that says you are number 500 on the list to enter, then I'll just get out and not bother. Because apparently they did have queues going into the hundreds over this last week. That's how many people were trying to get onto Orcrist. So yes, they still have a few things in which to iron out on the matter, which means that housing is still unavailable. Then I think that's probably going to be at least another week. Probably sometime in early April is the best estimate at the moment. We'll have to see. Maybe when things settle down, we could finally open up housing so that we could buy our houses and see if we bring down the housing server. Anyway,
I'm trying to think of the housing market right now. If you can't buy houses for for another couple of weeks, well then what are you doing right now?
Walking around with completely bursting bags of all your housing items.
Well, yeah, well, I have a feeling that most people have a great deal of stuff that's sitting in escrow as due to the transfers in there. So, yeah, a lot of people have all these housing items that they would like to place into their houses.
Yeah, that's just kind of funny to think about. This, the entire population of Middle Earth currently has no housing.
Uh, so we hope that they'll be able to get that open up and that things will be able to settle down into a standard routine there. But when the housing market opens up on Orcrist, I don't want to be in the middle of the door when it happens because I suspect that I would just be bowled over by hundreds of people.
Oh, I wonder how that's going to go. That feels like that could be spectacular.
I would like to have that spectacle be viewed from a far distance,
I
such as from
think
another server.
I think whatever dev gets to deal with that needs like a gift card to ice cream or coffee afterwards. Like they need a treat for surviving that.
Oh yeah, it's going to be it's going to be a real thrill what's going to happening on there where everything is it's going to be a flood. Maybe not quite as bad as the transfer flood was, but probably the second biggest flood they had on LOTRO is when they opened up that housing market on Orcrist. And that's it for our news this week. So let's go to our store sales. Cinders, what's on sale?
On sale, you can find your Shadowfax and get 25% off of select war steeds and mounts. Riding skills, select Warsteed Cosmetics. Do note that there is no Shire Plum Warsteed Cosmetic dye yet.
I heard such a rumor.
Movement speed buffs through March 27th. And then the weekly coupon is a free plus 100% mark acquisition boost for, I believe, 6 hours. Yep. With coupon code MANYMARKS, no spaces. Also through March 27th, which is fantastic if you like to skirmish.
Then let's then head on to what our gaming was like this week. Cinders, what were you up to?
Well, so I did find out today that the transfer that I started last week did get completed. But about the time I had a free day to go look at it, I started seeing the notifications from people who were like, I had duplicates on one server, and then I had like all of the same ones on a different server. And so I was like, and then somebody was like, oh no, mine got lost in the ether. And I was like, oh man, if I get on and I find out that mine failed and I don't have my characters, I'm going to be an absolute mess. I got to get through the rest of the week. So instead, I focused on housework and getting through the rest of the work week. And then today, I finally screwed up my courage this morning. It was like, are they there? And at first, I almost panicked because my first character is Alexarian. And it opened up, and I was like, hi, elf. And I'm looking at it, and it doesn't look right. I'm like, it's blonde. Oh no, why is it blonde? And then I realized that's because it's the dummy character that I created to save the name. So then I looked down, I was like, oh, okay, she's here, she's right. And then I looked for Cinders and M. But that was my very brief momentary panic this morning where I was like, they're there, but they don't look. Oh, okay. All is well.
You forgot about the dummy characters.
Well, I did because I'm so used to not having the -1 after them. Like,
right.
Of course, that should have been her. And then I was like, oh, wait, right. Like, you guys almost got a panicked message. Like, no. And then I was like, oh, This isn't that bad. Okay, I can live with this. Yeah, so I have not played this week, but I am hoping to get some time to play this next week. Um, but we'll see how that works out. Krister, how was your week?
I kind of had the same experience. This was after goofing off on vacation. I came back to the cold, harsh reality of having to work. And so work was a bit overwhelming, and I'm having a little bit of trouble with my sleep schedule on top of it. But I was able to do, even though I'm not ready to rock with the raid quite yet, in terms of my character's equipment and qualifications. um, I was able to do something that Krista really enjoyed doing with this after the server transfer was complete, which was sit on my ass near the Prancing Pony and people watch. Because it was Bree was once again alive, like it used to be in the old days, and so I was. It was fun sitting on my war steed outside the Prancing Pony. Other than that, did a little bit of hell diving this week, and a little bit of driving. Dusted Mad Max off, and other than that, it was a pretty light week. But I'm looking to get back into the groove here this next week. Finally, what were you up to?
All right. Well, the Merry Crew on Friday quested in the Broadacres, and then we headed into the Stone Deans and continued with our story over there. We are currently getting into the areas that are about 93, 94 or something like this, and our characters were running a little behind on the curve on that because you have 4 mariners ripping through the area, so therefore we keep on getting a little bit roaming through the landscape very, very quickly to there, and forgetting to do some of the side quests put in there. So we're also doing some side quests in there, and I reached a level 90 today on there, so we're making progress on there and getting through Western Rohan. Western Rohan. Then on Friday Night Fight, we headed into the Tomb of Valendil. Now, I was playing on my Runekeeper, and I don't know how it is with that instance, but sometimes we go into that instance, it looks like it's easy, and other times we go into that instance and we get squashed for several times. And last night was one of those, let's get squashed 3 times before we managed to actually finish it. But we did manage to eventually get through the thing and survive on it, and it seems like at first I went in there in DPS mode, and after the first failure of that stuff, I said, okay, well, maybe I should be in healing stance instead. And things were worse. So, okay, back to DPS. So, yes, had to go back and forth a little bit on that matter. But we did finish that in the end. And then in our token reading group, we did not have a kin house because we're now all on Peregrine, and we don't have housing on Peregrine yet, so we didn't have any kin house. So what we did is
Oh, nothing. My earlier rant.
Oh, all right. So because of that, what we did was we met at the lore hall where Corey Olson does his things in there. So we went to the lore hall and used that, and were able to take advantage of the stage over there, and things seemed to work out fairly well for that particular time at it. So we had our readings for the month. And that's it for my week in LOTRO. We did not receive any emails this week, but if you like since one, you could send it to podcast at loachplayers.com. The Players Alliance has 2 shows. On Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we record Loach Players News, and we record DDO Players News when Drac is available. You guys join for our shows at loachplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Pilot Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.